Houston, we've got a problem are some of history's most famous words, almost up there with One Giant Leap for Mankind. Both were heard here at Johnson Space Center south of Houston.
Now today we're going to take a tour here at the Johnson Space Center. And Tim's in his spot, strapped down in the tram, and we're getting ready to go. Space shuttle, and I think we're going over that way.
Welcome to NASA's Johnson Space Center, one of 10 NASA field centers, and the heart of human spaceflight operations for the past 50 years. It is here that history has been made. We'll continue on after
Look at the longhorn cattle right here in the field. Longhorn cattle. The longhorn cows right here.
A short ride on a wheelchair-accessible shuttle, and we're outside of Mission Control. A plaque commemorates the historical nature of this landmark. Some exhibits of space history are in the lobby and upstairs. We're at the heart of the American space program. In this room, engineers and scientists guided the Apollo rockets to the moon. Early astronauts of the Gemini program reported here. The staff here figured out how to get Apollo 13 back home safely when Jim Lovell famously reported his mission's problem. We're sitting in the gallery where heads of state and other VIPs watched as the men and a few women guided those early space missions. It's now a historical landmark, and another, more modern Mission Control continues to operate in another part of the building. Next, it's on to the Astronaut Training Center, where a full-size mock-up of the International Space Station sits. For years, astronauts have come here to learn how to deal with the rigors of space travel. Today's crew members still train here. We're reminded that this is still a working facility as we pass a food truck serving hungry employees on their lunch break. The last stop on any tour here is Rocket Park, where a few examples of spacecraft are on static display.
Tim, over here.
It was a small rocket like this that shot the first American into space, Alan Shepard. It pales in comparison to what's inside. This is a Saturn V, the largest rocket ever built and what carried men to the moon. If the Apollo program would have continued, this rocket would have put Apollo 19 on the moon.
And then right here, where that pole is, where the gray part is, the crew would live in that gray part, and then the little cone-shaped capsule up here at the front. Be three of them, 3 people in there. And then when they'd land, it would separate, and only the small part, the rust-colored part, would land back in the ocean.
On behalf of the thousands of NASA and contractor employees who have devoted their careers to space exploration, thank you for taking the time to visit NASA's Johnson Space Center to learn more about the inner workings.
The shuttle takes us back to the visitor center where we go inside a full-size replica of the space shuttle.
This is the shuttle. It's like what a shuttle would look like with a satellite in its cargo bay. And then here's the big long arm that they use to deploy the satellite. And over here is where the pilot, the crew sits, the pilot.
Did you say not to send it?
This shuttle sits atop an actual 747 carrier plane used to ship the shuttle from coast to coast. A display inside lets me try my hand at flying the plane and shuttle.
That little wheel makes the wind either higher or lower. If you turn that little metal wheel, if you turn it to the right, it makes the wind faster. If you turn it to the left, it makes the wind slower. Okay, and that concludes our trip to the Johnson Space Center. And now we're gonna go back to Houston and see if we can find something to eat.
This is Tim Music for The World on Wheels.